Oh, it is actually. Oh, hello, we're here.
Yeah, it hasn't started. I just record. I might, yeah, I'm gonna share my screen and then we'll start. Unless there's anything else anyone wants to say, any voice exercises people
Any
want
last
to
words?
Cool. I'm gonna turn off my camera and go on mute then. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, good luck, superstars.
Who's emailing me now? Right.
Okay, wait, sorry, I'll say five. I'm gonna go now. But it's now live, but yeah, maybe just hop on at the hour. Bye.
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 Here we all are then. It's a nice Thursday, isn't it? Alrighty. Hopefully people are joining. You should have got that red, Rich. What's your favourite red Sicilian?
That's a damn good question. Is it?
I do ask the tough questions.
Navolo, something like that. I can call you one of them if you want.
You know what? Sicilian just reminds me of the Queen's Gambit.
Oh, there's plenty of them. I've now got my wine wraps. All right. What's that one? Oh, actually, that's Chilean. That's a Caldera.
If anyone's just joining us, we're just looking at Rich's wine collection, which you can't actually see, but sounds fantastic.
It is fantastic, yeah. Caldera, that one. I have to say they're all corked at the moment. I'm being very good.
Are you saving them for a special occasion?
I'm saving them for if we ever announce anything positive in my sector. It'd be great.
We'll come on to that, Rich.
Hey, you know.
Good conversation. You give me some something to talk about that. How do I make this larger? That's my question. Let's do that. Just waiting for some people to join. I think we'll start on the hour. How's your day been, Vicky? What have you been up to?
Recovering from a lot of driving this week.
Oh, nice. On the road a lot.
Yeah, and highly amused at all of the signs that said no fuel here. I swung my Tesla into a supercharger.
Hey, very smugly.
Hey.
Yeah.
Feeling super smug.
Yeah, 100%. James, good day for you?
Pretty much the same, I think, as Vicky. I did 1,400 miles in my Tesla this week. And I've been down to Torquay and back today. So, but I was also feeling very smug, Vicky, so I know exactly. But didn't want to get too smug because obviously then you get hit for being irritating.
Yeah, just don't tweet about it. You can be smug in the confines of your own car, but maybe...
And on a program about energy, I think. But
yeah, probably tonight's a good forum, actually.
But I was so umming and ahhing, and actually it's so more and more I just think it's so effortless with the supercharging stations. And I just think they're actually miles ahead of everyone else's.
Without doubt, having tried to charge at something called a Franklin charge point on a multi-story car park, which said there's no Wi-Fi, so you can't get the app, which felt like a bit of a circular argument to me.
Well, I think
I saw two people basically moving between two chargers and then driving off and then on their phone and pressing buttons and then looking very stressed because they couldn't charge. So that's I think that's a lot of people's experience of just the normal charging systems.
If you are just joining us, we are talking about green energy, and we are talking about feeling very good about driving without fuel this evening. So welcome to the inaugural big fat COP26 quiz of the year, which hey, harder to say than it looks to read. But thank you so much for attending. If you are just joining us, the details for the Kahoot, which is the program we're going to be using for tonight, is on screen, and you'll need that PIN number, which is 4226221. That is to play along, so you can see your answers, and most importantly, to be ranked on a leaderboard, which is obviously the thing we care the most about. I'm James Stewart. We are joined by some amazing guests here this evening. As you can see, we've got Rich in his lovely background, James live from Torquay, and Vicky, he also has been road tripping today. So we're going to find out a bit more about those guys later on. But we're here to have some fun, first and foremost. Secondly, it's something a little bit different. Obviously, this November, an incredibly important event happening in Glasgow, the 26th Conference of the Parties, or COP to you and I. It is the world's largest, and I think this year the most important climate change meeting, in which delegates discuss a variety of things, some of which we're going to touch on a little bit later on. So of course it's meant to be fun, but hopefully you'll learn something from this evening. I certainly definitely did when I went through this earlier on. So it's going to be a good night. Thank you to the organisers, the Nuclear Institute for Young Generation Network, Britain's Energy Coast Business Cluster Shadow Board, and the Young Energy Professionals Network, the whole gang. As I said, some great contestants. We will meet them very shortly. Oh yeah, look at this, we're getting into it. Hi guys, hi. Before then, some housekeeping. If you do have any questions, there will be a couple of breaks throughout the evening, he says. Please drop them in the chat. There's a kind of group chat here on Zoom. If we've got time for anything at the end, we can direct them to the guides if they're specific to any individual, or if there's anything that kind of pops up as we go or you disagree with, please do let us know, and we'll get to those as quickly as we can. And if you are just joining, good evening. We are using Kahoot for this one. It's kahoot.it. The PIN number you will need was on screen, but it is 4226221. Don't forget to put your name on the Kahoot board because that's how you're going to be scored. Very important. I think that's all the fun stuff out the way, and I think it's time to quiz everyone. Excited?
Yay.
Absolutely bursting, James. Yeah.
Let's go, guys, come on.
Yeah, bouncing, bring it on.
I thought that was my Wi-Fi connection.
Bring it on, yeah.
I remember
this frozen, it's all right.
Oh yeah, exactly. I remember that point of lockdown when I used to do this most Friday nights, so it feels quite nice to revisit the Zoom quiz. I'm quite enjoying that part of this. So we're going to do some warm-up questions just to like see how it works and to get you warmed up for this. Not too warm, obviously, ironically. So let's get the questions on the screen. Can we see those? Can you guys see those? Oh, there we go.
Something's coming.
Oh, I meant to say, I'm very sorry. If you win tonight, there is an incredibly cool prize. Tickets to COP26, which is pretty cool. So yeah, get those couple of weeks booked off work in Glasgow. It's going to be a good night. I mean, that's actually quite cool. So please do play along. Take it seriously. We certainly will be. Let's go. Lots. Oh, I'm reading the chat. I'm liking the enthusiasm. Way more enthusiasm in the chat.
We don't get tickets, do we?
No. You can still drive there, Vicky. I you know, after your exploits of driving today, I feel like you're built for this, you know? Oh, these are warm-up questions.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. We're in already.
Game on.
Game on. FGG. Hazza. Right, number 2. The correct definition of net zero. Of those ones, what do you think the answer is? Reduce all carbon emissions to 0, reduce carbon emissions and balance any emitted by removing an equal amount, emit as much carbon as we want, as long as we offset it, or only ever use renewable energy sources. I was going to say answers on a postcard, but it's just on a screen, isn't it? Oh, pretty good. It's good. So you can, I quite like the live scoring aspect of this. And then we got a third warm-up question for everyone watching along at home. Carbon dioxide accounted for what percentage of greenhouse gas emissions from the UK in 2019? I'd imagine a lot. We are still warming up. 73%, 80%, 92%, 95%. And that is our final warm-up question, by the way.
Yeah, that was tricky.
That was tricky, wasn't it? Did you get that one?
No, I wouldn't have got that.
I
Well, I would have got it. I would have got it, and I would have purposefully been very smug at a random guess, but you know.
Okay.
I would have claimed some insight, but it would have been a random guess, James.
What would you have guessed, Rich?
I think I'd have gone the lower end, probably 70 odd.
Yeah.
One of the lower numbers.
It was 80%. It feels I'd have gone like lower as well. Quizzes, can you change your backgrounds to countdown, please?
We can try.
We are playing the iconic television game for part 1 of this countdown. This is going to be great. Here we go. Look at this. Look at the production value here. What a Thursday night. I mean, I'm excited for this one. Okay. So
I've already realised I've upskilled quite a bit this week, and I couldn't do that a week ago.
Yeah. The first game tonight, as you can see, is countdown. It is the word round. Each contestant has 30 seconds to introduce themselves. Now, obviously, I'm not Rachel or Susie, but I do have with me a hat or a mug in which I shall pull out some phrases or words that we've written down. I'll pick them out, and then each of you are going to talk to that subject for 30 seconds. Does that sound good?
Okay. Awesome.
Perfect. Let's go.
I'm gonna count you down, as the name suggests. So I'll give you a shout when we get to 10, then 5, and then I'll do the da-da-da-da-da-da. But I'll do that myself because we don't have the clip, okay?
Yeah.
Would anyone like to start? Should we do ladies first, Vicky?
No.
I missed that. Did
Yeah,
you
go
say
on then.
no?
Go on then.
Yeah. I think she said no, but I'll pretend it lagged. Right. Okay. I shall delve into my pot of questions, which haven't been pre-selected at all. But Vicky, my question to you, let me just try and think of something. Let's go with, what one thing do you wish the general public knew about the energy source you are representing? Time starts now.
I'd like them to know that the global nuclear industry helps avoid the equivalent CO2 of 400 million cars coming off the road per year. That a single uranium pellet could power an electric vehicle, those of us that have Teslas, James, for 20,000 miles. And a pellet is only a centimetre wide. And energy from 2 uranium pellets would provide one household with electricity for 1 year.
Oh, that's it. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Very good. That's very good. Good facts. Boys, we have a very high bar set.
Okay, so that's a high bar. I'm glad I didn't get that question. Well done, Vicky.
Yeah, good luck, Rich. Actually, we'll come to you next, mate. Okay, so my question to you, Rich, I'm going to delve into my energy mug. In an alternative universe, what could your life have looked like?
Oh, my word.
Take it away.
Right, so an alternative universe. So what else do I do then? So my life's all about operations and delivering big projects. So it's all people stuff, yeah? So my background is big infrastructure programs, making hundreds of thousands of tons of nuclear fuel. But what that really is about people. I'm a bit of a dog whisperer. So in an alternative life, I actually train gun dog puppies. So you get this little thing that doesn't know where the bathroom is, and within a year and a half, it'll do amazing things because it kind of trusts you. I'm going to write a book on this because I think it's a great analogy for leadership. And if you're into people and you're into coaching teams, do it. So yeah, young dog person, that's what I would be.
Hey! Sorry, I didn't give you the thing. Nice.
Oh.
I like that one. And James, that leaves us with you.
Oh, no.
You've seen how it's done. Are you ready for the challenge?
I am ready. Go.
Okay. So the words, obviously, so we've had energy sources in the public, we've had life in an affirmative universe. Your word, James, let's go with dreams that could change the world. So James, what idea do you dream that could change the world? Take it away.
Okay, so my dream is we find a way of storing energy that's stupidly cheap. And it would make everything so easy. You could just build wind farms, you can build nuclear, you can build solar, because it then smooths it all out. Unfortunately, we're not quite there yet, and we're probably about 100 times more expensive than we need to. But it would, all of these debates about the whole decarbonisation would go away if we could store energy for broadly nothing. Oh, is that it?
Oh, perfect. I like that one. Yeah, that's important. Yeah, I like that answer a lot. Thank you very much for playing our first round of Countdown. I didn't give you the jingle. We need to get that for next time. I really want to get that on like a button. Just to have in life, you know, just every day. Okay, so as with Countdown, we have had our word round. We are going to move on to our numbers round. On the screen, very shortly, you're going to see 5 figures appear. Now, these are the percentage of emissions released in 2019 by 6 different groups. As you can see, your job, you might need a pen and paper for this one, is to pair them up with the right sectors. You have 30 seconds. I'll wait a second and let me know. Are you ready to go? So you've got 30 seconds to pair those up. Your time starts now. Clock, please.
No, don't need the pen and paper.
Oh no, James. By memory?
Always
I'm gonna have to make it up.
Yeah, make it up. Sorry, I'm just gonna do that. This is quite hard.
Do we shout when we're done?
You done, Vicky?
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Okay, so how should we do this? Should we show? Let me see.
it's gonna be tricky now. You've taken them off.
Yeah, I've got, luckily, Rich, I have some prepared earlier. Vicky, let's start with you. Do you want to take us? Do you want to take us through what you think's what? Starting with maybe the highest one, percentage.
I can't see them on there anymore. I'm going to say
We get the
agriculture.
screen. There we go. Here it's coming back up.
We're going coming back on. That's better. That's better. Yeah.
So, yeah. So what do you think is the top one? 27%.
I'm going to go agriculture.
You would be wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure.
20, that's transport.
But you see, when you drive an electric vehicle, you forget that everybody else does high polluting activity. So it's really tricky.
James, obviously you're quite into, well, a lot of what you do is around residential supply. Are there any on there that what might surprise you or that you knew instantly because of that linked to kind of what you do?
Well, I know what the residential supply number is, if that's what you're asking me. But I could probably you can quiz me. I think I can do most of these apart from the smallest two. Which
you want to try?
So residential should be 15.
Correct.
Got that
Well,
right.
So do you want more? I mean, more.
Yeah, I want you to. Yeah,
keep
go on.
going.
Okay, I'll go through. So energy supply 21%,
Yeah,
transport 27%, business
Yeah.
17%.
yeah. Agriculture.
Agriculture, I thought was, well, I'm going to go, because I don't believe it's 10%. Although actually, I might be wrong on that one. I thought it was industry, but no, agriculture 10%. I'm going to go waste management 4, other 5.
Oh my, yes. That's a full house.
Thank you very much.
Rich, how did you get on with that?
Exactly the same as James. That was awesome.
I could
Yeah.
to be honest, I think you've got about how many is this? 1, 2, 4, 5. I got maybe
There's the answers.
4 of them. 4 of them. I got the transport. I did the same on the once I realised transport 121. I kind of got that right. It was better after that. So thank you, Vicky.
Yeah, well done, Vicky. How did you get on, Vicky, with those?
Yeah, I mean, apart from that, obviously completely correct. But that doesn't work.
I'm sorry that I asked you the one.
Wrong.
It's a kind of, I now realise the kind of thing that these energy professionals do at night. They kind of study these numbers. It's awesome. Well done, James.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. That was very impressive.
There's only about 2 that are important to me, but you know, it's sort of, people ask you, it makes them feel happier if you actually can give them the right answer.
Oh,
Sorry, Vicky.
Did any of those surprise any of you guys?
This is making people happy.
Were you surprised by any of those, anyone? Or was that kind of as you expected?
No, it's just it's what they
I
are.
think the bigger numbers are kind of reasonably well known. You know, the kind of 27s, 21s are about right. It's when you get into the small stuff that people don't get. You know.
Do you think that those are going to? Do you think we're going to have any additions to that group, or will any drop out? You know, because obviously that was from 2019. So do you think in 3 or 4 years there's going to be other things added to that list that aren't there now?
I think if you put the food system as a whole rather than just agriculture, then the 27% would have been more accurate. It's around 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few people in the chat saying agriculture they thought would be top, which would probably explain what, Vicky, you're saying there.
Yeah, great outrage and optimism podcast on that last week.
When's it out? Give it a plug.
Last week.
Oh, it came out last week, sorry.
Food system, yeah.
Where can we find that?
Outrage and Optimism is on Apple Podcasts. Christiana Figueres, who brokered the Paris Agreement, is one of the co-hosts with Paul Dickinson and Tom Rivett-Carnac.
Wow.
Well, listening to If You Don't.
That's pretty cool, eh? Thank you very much for that. Let's get back to the Kahoot questions. This is for our audience playing along at home or at work. I'm hoping no one's at work at 7, 7:15. So we're back to these ones. Obviously you are. Let's have a look at the leaderboard. Who's getting? Oh, Rich. Rich has in line for the COP26 tickets. It's a close fight, that, you know. Look at that. Close top 4. We've got Andy coming in. So back to you. So here we go. Back to the Kahoot questions. The Earth's temperature has increased by 1 degree since 1880, but how much of this rise has happened in the last 45 years? A quarter, a half, 2/3, all of it. Good question.
Good question and scary answers.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. None of them are good, are they?
No.
There you go. How does that affect the scoreboard? Rich still strong. Oscar's entered the running. Good work, Ollie. Becca's there as well. Love that. Right, here we go again. At the current rate of warming, how much will the Earth's temperature have risen by in 2100? 2100? 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, or 5 degrees. At the current rate of warming, how much will the Earth's temperature have risen by 2100? Again, not great stat.
Yeah.
This is why we need COP26. That's why
Good answers on that.
3 degrees, which is obviously the reason we're having COP26 this coming November. So how's that, Ollie? Again, Ollie's a genius. Get him on the podcast, Vicky. Ollie's incredible. Okay. Oh, I don't have that question. Okay, we can go for that. Sure. If we do nothing, rising sea levels will make which of these British landmarks inaccessible by 2100? Jurassic Coast, Hampton Court Palace, Tyne Bridge, or all of the above? Oh no. All of the above, wow. 14 places. Hannah and Liam have entered the fray. Welcome. Are we going to go again? Oh, yeah, we are. What's the average British person's annual carbon footprint? 2 tons, 5 tons, 10 tons, 13 tons. The average British person's carbon footprint per year. 13 tons. Jeez. I wonder how that would have dropped off in the pandemic with the traveling. 4 players, 4 in a row. Beth, we have a new leader, Beth. So I think we're gonna drop back now to you guys. So we're gonna go with our second iconic TV round. Have I got news for you? Quizzes, please change your background accordingly. Look at this.
Getting better.
Look at this. Hey, we have a full house. Obviously, if you've seen the show, you know how this one works. We're going to start off with the picture round. So you're going to see on screen when it appears 4 flags. So the 4 flags are of the United Kingdom, Japan, Canada, and Sweden are all on there. Your job, quizzes, is to figure out which one is the odd one out. Now, there's quite a few potential answers to this, so we'll give you a bit of time to breathe on it. And of course, if you're playing along at home or in the chat, please do let us know your thoughts. It's a tricky one, this one. I'll give you well, actually, you know what? We'll see how you get on. If you need a hint, I have one prepared. So which of those is the odd one out? Obviously, this is a quiz about climate policy.
Yeah, so guys, I'm thinking one is about legally enforced targets. So acts of parliament legal maybe. I'm not sure that 3 of those. Well, I know one of them's clear. One of them we clearly know. Has got a enforceable target. That's by Parliament. I'm not so sure about the other ones.
What made you say that, Rich? Why did you go there? What made you think of that?
Because weirdly enough, I was drawing a little timeline of it seems like decades since the Blair government said we're going to go big on nuclear, and trying to work out how long we've been into this game and when do we first start thinking about cleaning up the energy system and should we use nuclear for low carbon. And I was trying to tie it into the various acts of Parliament and COP and various COPs. And I think whilst all the parties in COP have said they've got to have a plan, I think the UK is the only one that's probably got it enshrined in law through acts of Parliament, I think.
So are you
I could be talking absolute wibble here, James, so I'll bow to my much more superior panel members, but I think that's probably true. Might not be the only answer, but I think that's right.
James, any thoughts?
I'm absolutely totally baffled. Canada, they've introduced a carbon tax. Japan, I'm afraid I know very little about their energy policy. Sweden, I kind of think they're always doing the right thing or trying to do the right thing. And the UK, I'll take Rich's view, which is we've got very aggressive targets. We're probably not going to make them at the moment. That would be, so I was going to say Japan's the odd one out, but I've got no real idea why.
Vicky, any thoughts?
Okay, just because I feel I need to deviate from repeating the same answer, I'm going to say that there was an article in The Economist probably about 10 years ago, and it stated where the lifeboat countries would be in the event of dangerous climate change reaching extremes. And I'm going to say the odd one out is Sweden. And if I say it with enough conviction, this is going to sound true. Sweden was the one that wasn't going to be a lifeboat country for people to move to as climate refugees.
Oh, wow.
You sounded convincing, Vicky.
I mean, you are right, Vicky, but not for that reason, but that should be the reason.
Well, or whatever it is you're about to say next.
Yeah, or the real answer, James.
Yeah. So all the countries listed here, as you guys said, all have legally binding net zero emission reduction targets, but Sweden is 5 years before everyone else's. So everyone else is 2050, Sweden's is 2045. Therefore, the odd one out.
Well, if my story is true, that they've got a hidden incentive because they're not a lifeboat country.
Isn't that interesting? We rumbled it.
Really
and some additional bits on this. Only 9 countries total at COP have legally binding net zero targets. So it's those 4 plus France, Denmark, New Zealand, China, and South Korea. It's quite interesting that probably the ones that need to have legally binding emissions targets.
Binding.
Yeah, binding. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lots of good points in the chat as well. People saying carbon tax, echoing what you guys said. Uranium reserves, Idris, that's a good shout. Carbon tax, powering past coal. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
good one. Well done, guys. Okay, let's move on to the picture reveal. Again, on your screen, you're going to see an image. Oh God, good luck. Any guesses what this might represent?
Paddington Bear planting a tree to offset his travels.
Somebody with a watering can. It looks like a watering can. I'll give it a watering can.
Vicky, if you stick in the same sort of TV area of a similar creature, you might be onto something.
Similar creature to Paddington Bear.
Well, there we go. It's going to slightly. It's been in the press recently.
Bunny?
Tweenies.
Oh, Ed?
The
Wombles.
The Wombles. The Wombles of Wimbledon, the 1970s TV characters, have joined the One Step Greener campaign to encourage all of us to do our little bit for the environment, especially as we approach COP26. They are part of the team, as you can see there. Looking very different to how I remember them, but
they look yes, they do.
They don't look great, do they?
In fairness, they've always been in the recycling, those guys, haven't they? I mean, that's pretty reasonable. Yeah. There's always been a recycling gig going on with Wombles.
And as someone that lives near Wimbledon Common, I think they are needed back.
And the one on the left is Stellan Paddington's hat, hence the confusion early. So
you're onto something. At least it's not a picture of Kermit the Frog after Boris Johnson's ridiculous gag of it's not easy being green. Okay, part 3. Moving on from that, the headlines round. Oh, I love this game. Appearing on your screen now is a headline, of course, with part of it blanked out. Your job, contestants, is to fill in that blank. Our headline: mammoths and mastodons were pushed to extinction by what?
Hordes of electric scooters.
It should be, shouldn't it?
Panic buying of greenery?
No.
I don't know. Pushed to extinction by, climate change.
Yeah.
There you go.
Do we believe this?
It never says where it comes from, does it, the quote? That's what I was glad to know. Okay, we've got another headline for you. Something mentioned 10 times more than climate change on UK TV. Something.
Boris Johnson's hairstyle.
I wish.
I was going to say sex, but I think that's probably a lot more than that. So Politics?
No.
No, it wouldn't be politics. It'll be something like travel programs.
I was going to say you're closer with sex, but that would be weird when you see the answer.
Sex, Love Island, isn't it? Dog?
God.
Dogs? What is it?
The answer is cake, 10 times more than climate change. Yeah. There you go. That's scary, isn't it?
Um,
I'm surprised climate change is mentioned that much.
I'm surprised it made the top.
Why? Who's talking about dogs? That, like, what show? Where? What are they doing?
There's an awful lot of cookery programs on a Saturday morning. You need a climate change program on a Saturday morning, don't you? And they repeat on Sundays, you know.
Ready, steady, bake with a different twist.
I missed
Absolutely.
yeah, I missed Scotch egg. Yeah, Spark wrote that. But I didn't. What? How's that being? Oh, we've got
We beat Scotch egg. That's amazing.
a small win. Okay, so I think we are back to. Well, we did the Kahoot questions earlier, so they were supposed to be here, but it's fine. We'll skip that. We're back to now mock the week. We continue our quest through our favourite TV shows. One of my favourite ones, this one. So contestants, please change your backgrounds to mock the week.
Oh, sorry, I'm miles behind. Let me.
It's all right. You're still thinking about that Scotch egg, aren't you?
I won that round.
You did. Yes. Your knowledge of 70s and 80s cartoons was spot on. Right, mock the week. So, as you know, this is how this works. If this is the answer, then what is the question? That is the answer. What is 10 to 40 meters?
This is particularly tricky when I'm getting the text, the chat buttons covering the answer. Oh, there you go.
You can play along in the chat as well, obviously. Blue whale, Scotch egg.
10 to 40 meters.
How far the sea level rise?
Yeah, what's the sea level rise on a 2-degree scenario?
The queue on the M6 to get fuel.
400 meters, isn't it, tonight? Any more for any more?
Safe social distance is good.
Yeah. Damn it. The Scotch egg thing is really getting a lot of mileage. More than I've traveled this week. So the answer was the last time the CO2 concentration was this high, the sea was between 10 to 40 meters higher than it is today. A sign of things to come, unfortunately.
Another scary answer, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bit of a commonality.
There's a theme developing here.
Yeah. It's almost like we need to conference to discuss it, isn't it, Rich?
Yeah.
Okay, next one. If this is the answer, what is the question? 61% and 84%. Any thoughts? Vicky, you're the queen of these games.
61%.
Any thoughts on what could be between 61 and 84%?
The number of people who say that they're going to make fundamental shifts in their energy use in the UK and don't.
Like a kind of New Year's resolution sort of thing.
Yes. And then
Yeah.
people who own cats in the chat, people who own cats rather than dogs.
I thought it was the number of people that like Scotch eggs.
What percentage of the UK population had a Scotch egg for breakfast?
The chat says the number of people waiting, I think it says at petrol stations currently.
Yeah.
The number of people switching gas provider.
That's far too high. Nobody switches gas provider, not these days.
They don't have a choice when they go out of business.
Exactly, you've no option, have you?
It's a forced move.
It's anyone who'll take you on at this moment, yeah.
Well,
I was waiting for the question about how many utilities are going to survive the week.
It'll be a lot smaller number than that.
Jess is what percentage of my day spent with a Skype headset on? Yeah, like a call center for Jess, isn't it? Any final thoughts? And we'll... Rich, what do you reckon?
Some sort of carbon emission reduction in the next 10 and 30 years.
James?
Looks like some sort of glide path, doesn't it, that slows down?
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
I could commit you to a...
I was going to say it's the number of people that don't know how their homes are heated.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you think it's that high?
It's pretty high. Probably not that high, but it is a high. It's amazing. We have, a lot of people have absolutely no idea how their homes are heated.
Really?
gas, whether it's electric.
I don't think 84% of the population know the answer to that, is there, James?
I don't, but I know it's a high number, and I'm just being
Well, high
flippant,
number.
but I actually don't know what the answer is. So
Could be the number of people who don't know what COP actually stands for.
Yeah,
Higher than 84%.
That would be a big number.
95%, I think, based on the conversations I've had this week. So that the answer to that is the percentage contribution fossil fuels make to electricity and total energy use.
I want far
In the
away,
UK?
James. I mean, give me half a point for that. I want
Yeah,
far away.
No, you're pretty. It's pretty good. The percentage contribute. Yeah, Eric
In
got
the
it
UK
right.
or overall?
I think this is. I think this is just the UK stat, which that is quite alarming.
Fossil fuels, 61 to 84.
Why is that such a broad gap?
Because it depends when you take the shot, I guess, you know.
It depends over how long, I guess.
You had to power up the coal power stations because the wind speeds dropped.
But there's not many coal fire stations churning away at the moment. I mean, there's what, 2 in the UK now? Including the one they brought out of retirement, West Burton.
we use about 1,400 terawatt hours, and we only generate about 140 terawatt hours from renewables. So the 84% is probably about right. It's because you've got to factor in heating, cars, and electricity.
Yeah, fair enough.
They are global. They are global stats. Apologies, which probably explains why they're so high. I wonder how would that compare in the UK? Do we think?
We're about the same for at the moment.
You don't think we'd be a little bit lower because we've taken most of it off the grid? Well, so we've taken a chunk of it off the grid, not most of it, a fair part.
Heating and cars are 3 times as much energy at the moment.
No, I accept that, James. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're the 2 tough ones that we've got to get to. Yeah.
Debbie says, can you repeat the answer? Yeah, the answer was 61, 84%, the percentage contribution fossil fuels make to electricity and total energy use.
That's a global figure. Okay.
The global figure, yes, all right.
That makes sense.
All right, moving. That was good chats. I think we'll do more we'll talk a bit more about, we'll sort of have a more discussion kind of around these answers, because we're getting some quite interesting stuff here. I've learned a lot. Should be writing notes. If this is the answer, what is the question? 3 trillion. Nice and vague for you.
The annualized cost of services nature provides back to us that don't appear on the balance sheet.
Wow. Vicky, your answers are really good, but not the
They
ones
might be wrong. Really good wrong.
Yeah, exactly. You should get a bonus point. In fact, you have a bonus point for your creativity.
Excellent.
It's good here, isn't it?
I'm going the estimated cost of delivering net zero somewhere, but I can't work out where.
Mars.
Yeah. or wherever the hydrogen fairies live. Yeah.
3 trillion. What is the question to answer 3 trillion? This isn't so much tied into energy uses per se. I probably told you that at the start, Vicky, sorry.
Good.
This is, James, have you got any ideas?
It's not big enough to decarbonize, I was going to say, and it's too big for a country. So I'm baffled, and I'd hate to think that was the amount you have to spend each year to get to net zero by 2050. So I'm bit puzzled. I don't know.
The average salary that sustainability professionals will be paid in 2022.
How about, seeing as it's not energy per se, how about something around the cost of cleaning up of climate events?
Nice.
Yeah, the recovery cost. Yeah, on an annual basis, because some big ones always kick. Well, over some basis in some position, because there's big numbers flowing around in that.
Yeah.
Could be recovery.
I like that. Well, the actual answer is the estimated number of trees on Earth, which works out to 422 trees per person. Before civilization, there were 6 trillion trees.
Wow.
So we are half.
How can they arrive at that figure, the rate of deforestation?
Yeah, I want, because especially with how quick it goes, right?
Yeah.
The thing that I always think about with trees, I know what you guys think, is it's fine. Reforesting is such a quick fix response to stuff, isn't it? Like, it's a nice headline, let's plant 100 million trees here or whatever, but it's the maintenance of those trees and the longevity of how you go with that. And if you've got any thoughts on that sort of stuff.
They've got a lot replanting. Look, it gets abused for carbon credits. I just think it's really hard to justify carbon credits, but it does do things like soil stabilization, helps stop you help stop flash flooding, it releases the water more slowly, and it helps you trap carbon. So there's lots of huge positives around doing it, but it's also, it's abused in the sense that lots of people go and say they're planting trees and take carbon credits, and they actually stops you doing things you should do much sooner. And I get frustrated with people flying and going, well, I've planted 50 trees or whatever it is.
The guilt-free, the guilt-free, offsetting.
Yeah.
We should probably keep the ones that we have already grown up. There's a Climate Cast Sky News on crime and destruction in the rainforest that I listened to yesterday. And when we pull the ones down and we burn them, the sequestered carbon, the services they provide are disappearing, right? So, rather than plant new ones, maybe we could divert a lot of energy to keeping the ones that are already providing those services alive, perhaps.
I don't know how much you guys know about blue carbon offsetting. It's something I've been reading about a little bit recently, and so it's, for those, I'm sure you guys will know, it's like preaching. I often talk about this stuff and no one knows what I'm talking about, but of course tonight most people know these words, but it's something I'm quite new to. And so it's obviously the process of reforesting the ocean beds, so things like kelp and seagrass and mangroves, which absorb an awful lot of carbon. Obviously there's a lot more ocean beds in which to grow them on. Do you think that's something that we're going to see more and more of?
Let's hope so.
Be nice. I mean, look, I live on the south coast, and we've lost something like 70-80% of our kelp beds. And it all helps, but I just think it distracts people from we need more renewable generation, and we need to stop burning as much stuff.
I think I'm in that space with you, James. I think there's a lot of distraction. It's kind of a low-hanging fruit, nice soundbite answer. That kind of stuff, but it's not going to get us there fast enough. We're going to have to make some bigger decisions faster to do some stuff, I think.
Okay, well, we have got more Mock of the Week questions to come, but I think we'll drop back to the Kahoot questions to give everyone playing along a chance to get back involved in the quiz. So pressure's off, guys, for a second. Thanks for that one. Vicky can take some time to conjure up some more incredible theories for us, and we can we'll get back into the quiz. So yeah, if you're playing along at home, get ready to get your answers in. We should be able to see on the screen in momentarily, the guys there for us. We'll come back to, I realized we didn't really get to talk too much about what you guys are up to and stuff at the moment. So we'll get to that very shortly, because I think there's a lot of people that would want to know about that sort of stuff. So if you're happy to do that, we'll get some sound bites on you guys that aren't managed by me over 30 seconds with a countdown background behind you.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. Okay, back to it. To limit global warming by 1.5 degrees, how much do we need to reduce our carbon footprint to?
Is that everybody's carbon footprint or
So
individual?
the average person.
I don't know. I would say everybody. These seem to be global stats, most of them.
Yeah.
2 tons. It's a lot. How's that affect the score? Jacob W, 16 places up. Nice. Like Brentford in the Premier League. Martin's flying high. If we act quickly and decisively now, how much can we limit global warming to? Half a degree, 1 degree, 1.5 degrees, 2 degrees. If we act quickly and decisively now, how much can we limit our global warming to? Feels a little bit late for that one, doesn't it? That's ambitious. 1.5 degrees. Lana up 16 places, highest climb of that round. I think that is all of our Kahoot questions. Yes, we're back to mock of the week. We are ready for the next round of this one. So let's pick up where we left off. So this is part 2. This is scenes we'd like to see. In this round, I will use a randomizer, which is this mug. You can't see it. There we go. To pick out topics that our contestants will then talk on for 60 seconds. We will be timing you again. Contestants, if you like the sound of a subject, please raise your hand. And that is how we will decide who wants to talk about what. If you've seen the show, you know how it works. They come on stage, they talk about something for 60 seconds. So topics tonight, ladies and gents, include a plethora of things. Electric vehicles, which we've spoken a little about. 2050, obviously a big target for a lot of the COP chat politicians. Interesting. COP26, generally speaking. The UN Sustainable Development Goals, nuclear energy, and an energy mix. So any of those jump out to anyone that they would like to have a chat about? Vicky, what do you like out of that?
So I'll take the SDGs.
Yeah, Sustainable Development Goals for the UN.
Okay.
We have
60 seconds.
You've got 60 seconds on the clock. We'd love you to talk around it, if that's okay.
Okay. So I would like, it's sort of also the vision for the future one, whatever that was. So I'd like to see the Better Business Act come into force in the UK, and I'd like to see it integrate the Sustainable Development Goals as requirements of business. I think that it would be fabulous if we could put it into company statutes that all 17 of the goals need to be met on some level by all corporations and state actors. I think that it would be amazing if we could move from this going, gosh, aren't there an awful lot of them? There are 17, to a position of recognising if there are 17 and they all need to be done and they're interrelated, then we really ought to sort of hop on it. And I suppose attendant to that, instead of doing gap analysis on why we can't reach some of those goals and then shortening the time frame in which we have to resolve them, it would be wonderful if organisations just went out there with a top moonshot across all 17. That's fine. I'll stop at 50 seconds.
That was awesome. Thank you very much, Vicky. They do applaud on the show, so I feel like I should. Yeah, that was good. That was great. Wow. God, what a whirlwind. And actually, I should just bring this in because Henry, and actually I'm going to ask you guys this quickly, says we were obviously talking about reforestation and deforestation in the chat. Could we plant trees on all the land saved by nuclear?
It's a damn good idea.
Good theory, eh?
Pretty energy dense and small footprint.
I like that idea. Just thought I'd bring in. And thanks to the person that said I'd be a good contestant, a good host who wants to be a millionaire. I appreciate that, although I'm sure Jeremy Clarkson would have something to say. Okay, other subjects tonight. Vicky, thank you very much. That was awesome. Lads, topics include electric vehicles. You can have politicians. You can have a bit of nuclear energy. You can have energy mix. James, any of those jump out to you?
I'll take the energy mix.
Please do, sir. Take it away.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the UK. At the moment, we think we're doing quite well. We use about 300 terawatt hours of electricity a year, and about 140 of that, so roughly 40% of it, is counted as renewable. That's the good news. Bad news is if we want to decarbonize the UK, we probably need 1,000 terawatt hours of renewable generation. So I try to say to people, we're 15% of the way there. Options are nuclear. We've got nuclear, we've got solar, we've got wind. Solar, because most of our energy demand comes in the winter, I kind of write solar off as being anything significant. Nuclear, probably the controversial one here, but it's not going fast enough. And I'm a much more of a fan, let's say, of Gen 4 reactors, which are the next generation. Not a great fan of the current ones, but they just, as the EDF are showing, they take a long time to build. So, and then the last option is carbon capture and storage, which I'm highly skeptical of. Nobody's delivered it yet at scale. And it's quite hard to make it genuinely zero carbon. So you end up looking at the UK for offshore wind, and how many 3 minutes? 3 seconds?
2 seconds. Last point. Go on.
Okay, I think we're going to basically have a completely offshore wind dominated energy system. So,
ooh, nice tease to end on. We'll come back to that. In fact, I'm going to make a note of that, James, because that's a good. Sorry, I'm literally typing that out. Because that's intriguing to me, and we'll talk about how that's going to happen in your opinion a little bit later on. Okay, so Rich, that leaves you with nuclear.
I've got to respond to that with the nuclear stuff, haven't I?
Yeah, I was going to say you can't. He's just absolutely hung up.
I can't let that go. Sorry. So things I'd like to see. I would like us to see people realise that big gigawatt nuclear projects are expensive. We kind of all get that. It's a self-evident statement of fact. As James just said, we've seen that with Hinkley. We've seen it in a few sites in Europe. In fact, pretty much everywhere. So one-off major projects are not the way to go. What I'd like us to see is busting this myth of we can't get to net zero through nuclear, because I think we've got an option to build an infrastructure that churns out small reactors. And there'll probably be PWR3s to start with, James, and then they'll move into the AMR stuff, the more advanced Gen 4. It doesn't really matter what the tech is, the real issue is the cost. So we've got to get it down to kind of 35 to 50 pounds a megawatt hour, and you've got to be able to build an industry that can make a real dent. So, you know, doing gigawatts of small nuclear on an annual basis. So I guess my final statement would be, when Ford created his mass production line for the Model T, it wasn't about the engine, it was about putting it together and delivering them cheap.
Ooh, okay. Thank you, Rich. Oh, I've got to give around the post. Okay, so we've got kind of part two of that. So this is scenes you'd like to see. We have got time to do this, and I think it's quite interesting. So we got more subjects. I think we've got three or four more subjects here. So Vicky, we'll come back to you so you can have a go at. So this is scenes we'd like to see, things you'd like to see. So 2050 is a subject, politicians. How long have we got?
No, thank you.
Say again?
No, thank you. I don't think I'll pick that one.
No, thank you. Fair enough. Electric vehicles?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Scenes I'd like to see. I would like to see all of those companies outside of Tesla that are providing electric charge points joining up to a single app that electric drivers could actually use, where they're interoperable, such that those of us that are trying to lead the charge, pardon the pun, and driving electric vehicles didn't have to fight off all of the arguments as to why not use them, unaided by the disparate energy charging network that has been provided without a great deal of thought. I'd also like to see, from a consumer behaviour change perspective, this understanding that we wouldn't expect you to go home and not plug in our iPhones or whichever phone of choice, and therefore it isn't a really big stretch to expect that we might want to charge our cars as well. The forecourt would become a thing of the past. Oh, do I keep talking?
You can. You got 15 seconds if you want to add anything in.
No, I think I'll leave it there.
That was pretty succinct. Do you think that's realistic, the one app for all?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's technically possible.
Yeah.
It's about collaboration, which is, you know, the partnership goal of the Sustainable Development Goals. So let's crack on and walk the talk. And
in fact, they've got a whole day on transport, I think, at COP. So there you go. Food for thought. Right, chaps, that leaves you with politicians or COP26 generally.
I'm always at risk of getting sacked anyway, so I'll do politicians. With
I was going to say,
COP26.
who's got the more to lose?
I'm going to say I'm always at risk of getting sacked, so I don't want to do politicians. James, you do COP26.
I've got my local MP coming, I hope, next week, fingers crossed. So I'm going to stay away from politicians.
Yeah. Go on, Rich. Here's some political chat.
So, let me just say, I think I'm going to be slightly controversial here, yeah? Because I did work in government for a little while. Don't kind of now. So my standard disclaimer is I'm not a civil servant, which is, guess why I'm being allowed to do this kind of thing, you know? So a little bit more freewheeling than that. I would say, having worked in central government, I've never seen a minister not make a decision when he's been given a piece of advice or an option within less than a few days. They might ask questions, they might come back and say, check that, but they'll generally make you a decision, yeah? So that's a little bit controversial. So I would say that these guys are a little misunderstood. I think there's a desire there to do stuff. The question is, how do you get the information faster? How many more energy system analysis do we need in the UK before we decide what the right mix is? When do we just crack on and start doing some stuff? It's not about the precision of the destination. It's really about getting on and doing it. I'm not sure the blame for that sits entirely with the political parties. I don't think we've ever seen a stronger will to move and do this sort of stuff. Political will's there. So there's just something that needs unlocking differently. It's the pace of analysis and the pace of action, not necessarily the pace of decision making.
Points. Do you? I guess counter question to that is, I think it's interesting on who turns up physically on day one of this, and there's been a lot of chat about that politically. Do you think that's going to have a big bearing on, politically speaking?
I think there's this myth. When I mentioned it in my last thing when we were talking about nuclear energy. There's this kind of, who wants to go there first because there's a cost to it. Now the question is, the first mover advantage to delivering the tech is huge. So there's a cost and a benefit. There's a win benefit analysis needs to happen. If the UK wants to lead this field, and I think it can, by the way, in many things it does, it needs to basically get off the pot and move. Yeah, and get there first.
Strong words, Rich. Okay, James, that leaves you with COP26. I mean, you can bring in anything. Did you want to respond to anything Rich said, or have you got any differing opinions or anything you want to get in there as a kind of parting thought?
I totally look. I really like the way Rich describes it. I think the UK can lead, and one of the reasons is that we are going to be the largest developed economy with the least amount of interconnection to our neighbours and the largest amount of renewables within 10 years. So there are lots of countries, like Denmark, that have a bigger percentage of renewable generation on their electricity grid, but Denmark is plugged into Germany, which is 10 times the size, and it's plugged into Norway and Sweden with their pumped hydro. So we are running on an experiment, and we've got relatively liberal markets. So I think the UK has a huge opportunity here. What terrifies me about COP26, and I'm very unhopeful, sadly, is that I don't think enough groundwork has been done to get people into the right place for there to be progress. I keep seeing more ambitious targets, but they're all 5 years away, 10 years away, when actually we need to be spending today. We should be mobilizing. We should be making commitments, not just for the next 10 years, but 20 years around generation. It takes a long time to get projects in place. And until we've got renewable generation, you can't displace fossil fuels. So I look at COP26 and I hope it's a success, but I'm generally really negative. And I think Greta sadly had it very well when she used the immortal words, blah, 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 with regard to, what is actually happening on the ground, which is just not enough.
Yeah, and Vicky, I was going to kind of do this at the end, but given that the lads have sort of had a say on it, just do you want to pick up on any of that and have a sort of parting thought on your COP26 expectations, realities?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess it comes back to that idea of outrage and optimism, the fact we need both. So James obviously feeling quite lacking in optimism about COP26, and I can completely relate to that and understand that. But I think we have to sort of take the blah 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 and galvanise it into forward momentum and action, rather than get trapped in those other people aren't going to do anything, because otherwise we're paralysed by our fear of inertia. So I'm going to stay on the optimistic side to balance James's outrage, whilst I share his outrage too.
I like that. There you go, a little bit of optimism. It's nice. Yeah, it's nice to have a bit of balance. I like that. The light, you're like the light and the dark of the force, coming together in a lovely little package. So back to thanks audience for writing in the chat and for listening to the guys. And we have 2 more questions for you. Back to our incredible screen here, and then of course we have those tickets. Oh, I can hear myself. We've got tickets to COP26 up for grabs. So we're getting into the business end of the quiz now. Just 2 more to go. If you do win, by the way, please stay online so we can get your details and sort you out with all those sort of things. Don't run away just yet. Who's going to win? Martin up there so far. Big. Well, it's actually quite a big gap. Martin, Best doing really well. Hazard's been there the whole time. 16 places. Lana's the highest climber this round. Into the final 2 questions. What was the Oxford English Dictionary's word of the year in 2019? Earth Day, climate emergency, global crisis, greenwashing. Oxford English Dictionary's word of the year 2019, which feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? Any thoughts on that one? Penultimate question. Climate emergency was the word of 2019. And for all of time since then, Well done, Martin. Got it right. 3 players, 3 in a row. Impressive. You guys are great at this. I think this is the last question. Oh, multi-select. So which 2 of the following statements are sustainable development goals? Vicky talked about this. Gender equality, restoring mangroves. We talked on that as well. Affordable and clean energy, or electrifying transport. Which of those 2 are statements for sustainable development goals? SDGs. Sound quite sexy as sustainable development, wasn't it? SDG. Sounds like something you'd pick up. So yeah, gender equality and affordable and clean energy. Well done if you got those right. And many people, it looks like, did. So this is our final winner. E-Rock in at 3rd. Congratulations. And at number 2, Martin. Oh, Martin. Our number 1 till the end. But taking the top spot tonight, Hazza. Hey, big round of applause, Hazza. 9 out of 11. Well done. I think that was a late win as well. I saw you floating around there the whole quiz, and then you nicked it right at the end. So well done to you. Stay there, Hazza, so we can get your details and get these COP26 tickets to you. Guys, we've got a couple of minutes just to wrap things up. We've had some sort of parting thoughts, but we've had a bit of optimism and a bit of pessimism. But do you kind of want to finish on sort of talking about what you guys are up to and exciting things you're working on and your hopes and what you're doing? Because I think there's a lot of like-minded people in the group, and it'd be lovely to hear from you guys about that stuff, if that's okay. So I don't know, Rich, you've got that background perfectly timed.
I did.
So
this thing behind me, guys, is not my garden. That is what the UK small modular reactor power station will look like if and when Rolls-Royce start to build them with their partners. So small's all relative in my game. It's kind of about the size of a small football stadium. The entire power station sits with underneath that canopy. It's quite a cool building, really, quite sweet.
Awesome, yeah.
And they will be building them, or we're looking to build an industry that can maybe churn out 2 a year, which is about 1 gigawatt at less than 2 billion a unit, which kind of means you can get private investment. And hopefully, if we ever quite get there, it's in the 10-point plan. Watch this space for moving into this pretty soon.
And if not,
I run that.
Yeah,
right,
that's pretty cool.
Okay.
And if not, you can lend it to James Bond for the next film. It looks like a Bond villain there, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I noticed there's some trees in the foreground. That's always handy.
It's always handy, yeah. And Jan's written more trees in the chat. Thank you, mate. You're meeting your local MP next week, James. Is that to do with anything exciting you can tell us about?
Yeah, so Caldera, which is the company I run with a couple, great team, about 10, 12 people. We make heat batteries, which in the simplest term is you take electricity, whether it's sunny, windy days, off peak, we convert it to heat. We store it in something that looks like a giant thermos flask. And then when you want it, we just pump it into your house.
Cool.
And it allows you to, and our aim is that we tackle homes. We do 2 things for the grid. One of them is we tackle homes that need lots of power and hot water, tend to be older properties, harder to insulate. And we also put massive amounts of flexibility. So our heat battery is 100 kilowatt hours. My Tesla car is 50. So, we store a lot of energy. We do it cheaply, but we're early days. It's all starting. It works when you either have lots of, I love nuclear because you either want inflexible or you want variable, and both of them need storage. But we're early days in the process, but people have been really supportive and really enthusiastic, and we've got our first 12 units going into trials this winter.
Oh, amazing. Where can we find out more?
If you type either Caldera or Warmstone, which is the material we use, into the internet, Warmstone, it comes up straight away. So, and there's some pictures and there's a few videos we've done and everything like this. So there's lots on the internet now on us.
Brilliant. And Vicky, finally from you.
Okay, so Rich and James have both covered the hard science of the sector, so I'm going to go to behavioural science and talk a little bit about leadership. So for those that organise this and all of those that are looking to some of the older ones of us to be guardians for future generations, demand much of us, demand much of your leaders. Don't let it go, and don't give up, because we need to be held to account the positions of power we currently sit in.
That's a great way to end. Thank you so much. And thank you as well to everyone behind organising the quiz tonight. We've got the Nuclear Institute for Young Generation Network, British Energy Coast Business Cluster and the Young Energy Professionals and Prospect. You can follow them all on social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and please keep an eye on all forthcoming COP events. And to find out more about COP26 and what all of these lovely people are up to, just chuck it into Google. Thank you so much for this evening. Thank you for everyone playing along at home. This has been incredibly insightful, and hopefully we can do it again at some point.
Have to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hello.
Hello. Fabulous. Do you want to stop recording?
Yeah.
I was going to say, guys, Sophie.